record on this. Okay, so we're recording. That
Okay.
light thing is happening again. Okay, so somebody said today that they have pulled out 30 different pieces of nanotechnology from their body, and that they have under their skin currently a little metal triangle that is coming to the surface, that they're going to go get it assessed and examined by a science lab. So there is something going on with how much energy, the Schumann, nano, everything is exploding right now.
Yes, I agree.
Okay,
And
so tell me your experiences of all of this.
Well, you just said that you woke up with a headache and that your clients are coming at you. I heard that from another lady this morning too. The same language, almost identical.
Wow.
I'm in the middle of a fast again. I like to do these once a month, so I'm fairly calm. I've been kind of laying low in the communication department, but I got nailed in the last hour or so with a bunch of really cool stuff that I want to share.
Oh, good.
But I just sat down and I'm in Bankers Hall. I like to come down here, you know that, and hang out. It's kind of a strange place, but I don't mind it. It's comfortable and it's warm, and they have a couple of chairs that I can sit down in that are open. And I had to just give the one young security guy who doesn't know me a little schooling as he came over, because he just came over and he says, "You know, this is a public place." And I said, "Yes, I do." And I said, I'd like to tell you that I don't function in that public legal jurisdiction. I'm a sovereign human being. I deal in the upper realms of banking in this center that we're standing in. And he looks at me, "Okay." That's all he said. And
So
I mean,
do
I
you
said
think,
nothing. I said nothing but
he
the truth.
understood the languaging?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to a certain extent. I mean, he was shy and he just, he wasn't going to push me. That was it. I just said the truth, and that's all it is. So that leads, if you want to just get right into it, what I was just reading prior to getting on here. Okay. So what we've done, okay, you're familiar with the Dow Energy Foundation, okay, TAO Energy Foundation that we created. And this was done years ago already on my own. And then last September, I attached to a man who is asset-backed funding, that you're familiar with that story as well.
Is that
And
the
it's
guy
not,
with the B?
yes, and it's not ancient assets, although there is connection to that. He also has just blocked funds. Okay, so the banks what they've done, especially since the 1970s when we switched over to pretty well completely monetary or credit creation, I'll call it, instead of monetary creation, is that they've blocked funds, blocked funds of people making excuses about, oh, that comes from a certain country and all that garbage, right? But just blocked. And then there's these ancient off-ledger funds as well that we talk about that are, based on treasure that's been mined on this earth by humans for millennia. So what in that process of meeting him and building trust and building a relationship, which is what I do, is that I build authentic relationships. Like I'm not the kind of guy that's a researcher or, I trust no media, I trust no government, I trust none of that legal jurisdiction bullshit. And we can talk about how I learned that kind of stuff if you want, but basically today was okay, going back to September again, was when I chose to bring two more partners in. Okay, and the two partners that I had already built a lot of trust with, one in Australia, a younger man who's very spiritual, very high level intelligence in the banking world, and the second in the UK who's the same, if not more so, on the common law aspect of things. So the three of us now are under one realm, and I call that a nonprofit organization. But in that realm, we also have what we call a common law pure trust. So that's the function of the common law jurisdiction, is to have a pure trust where you don't own anything. You're the managing director, right? So what happened today, okay, so that's kind of a little bit of background. A lot of that stuff I've talked about in the past, so people can kind of go back if they want, or if you want to throw questions at me, that's fine. But what happened today was that we linked up with another thing that's happening on this beautiful Mother Earth these days, and that is the quantum syntax language, okay? And I'm talking about David Wynn Miller and his the man who's taken over since he passed away, Gould, Richard Gould. Oh, what the hell?
Are those the two that stopped the corporation? Those names are very.
Yes, they basically debunked the English language with this quantum syntax language, right?
Oh, okay.
Gould, Russell Gould, sorry, that was the name, Russell Gould. And he's the current Postmaster General for...
Yes. But didn't they stop something really huge from happening? And thank God for them, for the US. They did something.
Yes, basically just deciphered the proper language, right, is what they've done. And what that does is it's kind of, you know, it's complex, and I can put a link at the bottom to a page that I was reading just prior to this, that we've now attached to, okay, with the First Republic Registrar Foundation and our third partner. His name is Paul Simons. So Paul sent me this just as I sat down here about 15-20 minutes ago, and we have now created, or he has created, sorry, I didn't take part in this aspect of it. We all have our own kind of specialties and our own little path that we're on, right, inside of the big path. And within that, he's created now a quantum sovereignty certificate, okay? So the language and the wording and the colons in the right place and everything like that. And I'll share that with you, Ida, and we'll share the link at the bottom of the video as well for people if they're interested to go there. Now, at this stage in time, there is, you know, a process involved that'll cost some money, and I didn't look at the fee schedule that he put together, but that's beside the point. It's just something to take a look at, something to start wrapping all of our heads around, the idea that we are sovereign human beings, not just autonomous, but sovereign. And that language is very important to me. A lot of people come down on me and talk about sovereignty this and sovereignty that. You're yapping about that. Well, that's fine. Everybody can choose their own path, and I have nothing to, you know, complain about whatever path they're on. Everybody has their own, and I'm not in a judgmental position. I'm here to offer and to show people our way along the path of the way, which is the spiritual path, right?
Yeah, the Tao. The way, literally meaning the way.
Beautiful. So there you go. That should kick things off and get us started on a conversation, I guess, for half an hour or so.
It's oh, geez, I did it again.
That's okay.
So I'm a part of a group that meets and discusses common law things. So lately, one of the men, since I did a little bit of research, I don't know everything. God, I know nothing. But what I do know is how to fight the tickets that they set up for the fines. And because of my human rights cases, I've been looking into common law, even though they're in the legal jurisdiction. So it's all been very, very purposeful, as life usually is, right? What we manifest, which was one of the questions I wanted to ask you, which I saw Danusha ask William, and I thought that was my question. Randy, okay. I wanted to ask anyway. Okay, so they were pulled over by the police in this time. And I just love this. He said to the police officer, "I'm a man, right?" Like he wanted the police to confirm to him that they understood that he was going to be talking common law. I'm a
Beautiful.
man, right? And so the police agreed, and he got it all on film, right? Which was really,
Wow.
they ended up, because he said no. He said, "What is your name?" And the fellow said a name, and he said, "This is what my friends call me, the man," and the name. And he said, "I'm not obligated to give you any information about myself as a man. So I'd like to know, have you sworn allegiance and to the people through the Constitution when you took your oath to the crown?" He's really good.
Wow.
And yeah, yeah. And he said, "You are a public servant meant to protect me as the living man. And I don't feel protected right now. I actually feel,"
Threatened.
you know what? They slammed cuffs on him
Oh boy.
and
So he
stuck him
was
in the
threatened.
back of the car. And he kept going on about common law. He's so brave. Okay, so that was one. You know what happened to him 2 days ago now? He showed up at a gathering of common law folks.
Yeah.
Okay. There were 20 of them or something at somebody's house in these COVID times.
Yeah.
Somebody either ratted them out because they saw all the cars and everything in the driveway, or they're tracking what he's talking about on his cell phone. Like, "I'm going to the meeting." He asked me if I wanted to come to that meeting. I didn't go, but what happened is 10 cruisers showed up. No, sorry, I've got this wrong. 8 cruisers showed up, 10 police officers calling everybody out, asking them their names. And there he is again. "I'm a man, right? Acknowledge that I'm a man."
Yeah.
And then he points to all the people and he goes, "And that's a woman, and that's a woman, and that's a man." Like, I just love him. So, you know that little video I did and I posted on Dow about how to fight the fines? You write the word
Yes.
decision and then you do the red ink and the blue ink and blah, blah, blah. So
Yes.
today he's got the fine and he's got pictures of it posted on our group. Rescinded, the red signature, the blue. And he films everything. So it's really, really neat. He's trying to operate in common law and not at all worried about, being pulled over, or he just feels like, he asked me, "Can you call me right now?" So again, I'm on the phone. He is so like, "I feel so empowered. I feel they've trespassed, they've harmed me, they've harmed all those people. And I'm so now he's suing them all
Ah.
because
Yeah.
they didn't abide by their oath to the crown and the Constitution.
Yeah.
So it is what I'm learning, like you've been talking about, is languaging is so important. As soon as you identify as the person, you're talking corporation and legal. You're not talking common law.
Yeah.
So I love that he keeps going, "I'm a man, right?" She's a woman. Like he's not going for the corporation legal talk, right? Jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So as we move forward, I'm grateful to you because I think you've really spurred me on to look at the language I'm using. It's not so conscious right now. I still am pretty programmed with the legal jurisdiction language.
Yeah.
But this is giving me, I think about it now. When I, even coming up with incension, because I heard incension, that wouldn't have, like that, I wouldn't have grabbed onto that thought or whatever as it passed through. if I didn't have some consciousness about this languaging.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful to you because I think that you've spurned that in me through all the talks you've had, through all the work you've had. I want to keep up. It's spurring me to keep up.
Well, that's good.
Isn't that
And you know,
good,
it's,
Randy?
but the thing is, I don't speak that language very well. You know how I just come off the cuff. You know, I feel as if my language is more in natural law or God's law than in either common law
Ah,
or you know the legal jurisdiction. And I've always been that way for years already because I think it started. I wanted to say this because I was thinking about it ahead of time, like we were talking about yesterday, how the hell we got involved in this. And I'm grateful that, and it's my pleasure that you feel as if I assisted you some way, but you've obviously assisted yourself with these other people you're talking to as well. So it's a
yes.
combination of so many things and recognizing those little things that we've gone through as individuals, right? So when I
But for
first
me,
started
let
in,
me just say, but for
sure,
me, it did start with you. This stuff didn't come out to the other common law group. It started with our conversations back then, and then the filing of the six whatever with Ontario Human Rights. I
right.
so please take credit. You don't want to take credit. I know you're trying to kind of go, well, it's a combination. La 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 la. You're being very humble, but I'm
Well,
directly saying to you, it was your energy, the being inside of you that did spurn this for me.
but you exercised and recognized the synchronicity. Okay,
Yes,
so I like
yes,
using that word rather than miracles or God winks or whatever, you know. It's just synchronicity seems to work for my mind better. Then it
yeah,
doesn't become kind of mystical too much, even though there's
yeah,
a mystical aspect to this, don't get me wrong.
yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah.
recognizing those synchronicities and going into our past, because prior to me coming along, you would, if you think about it, you would have recognized other things too, just like I did when I was in the courts, uh, battling to retain my property, right? Like because I had a lot of assets, right? And in the court system, I just simply learned enough about to be dangerous, okay? To be dangerous to them, about being a man. And when they'd ask me in the court and stuff, they'd get so frustrated with me because I'd say, well, who do you want me to be? Like that person, that entity that's on the paper? What, like, wait, well, who are you? I'd ask them and stuff like that. And eventually they'd start to threaten me. And, you know, if you're going to keep this up, you're going to be in contempt of court. And I'd back down, you know, and I'd just say, okay, let's go ahead with whatever game you want to play. You know, I'd talk to them like that, just with no respect for them whatsoever. But at the same time, respect for the human being, you know, like it's your game, whatever game it is, you know, that kind of language I'd use on them. And it took them 9 court sessions to take my stuff, you know, like, which is a long route. But each time it was because I just kept, you know, fucking with their heads. Like I wasn't going to stand for that legal crap. And eventually I won. They said, okay, listen, you know, we've had enough. You can take this to the 3 judge court of appeals. You won. And I said, okay, that's cool. And I started to sing Imagine in the courtroom, the John Lennon song, and I backed out of the courtroom singing Imagine. and and this judge was just like, by this time she just, so that was a woman that time. She was just had enough. So I trumpled right down to the 3 court judge appeals. I walked upstairs, or I went up the elevator. It was like 20th floor or something of this building. And the receptionist said, and nobody in there. It was just completely empty. And this was back quite a few years ago when there was a lot of stuff still going on. And she says, can I help you? And I said, yeah, the other lady sent me down here. I said, I guess I get to go play with you guys now. And she says, what are you talking about? I said, well, you can look at my paperwork. And she did. She says, okay, that's fine. You can't come into the court here without a lawyer. It'll cost
Oh,
you
that's right.
$60,000 just to apply. and you'll need all 9 transcripts, which transcripts were, I don't know, between 1,500 and 3,000 bucks a piece. Like there's another 27 grand. So it's going to cost me 100 grand. I looked at her and smiled. I said, oh, I won all right. I said, see you later, but thank you very much, and off I went. But the next step, Ida, was even more important for me because I had learned that the autograph on the promissory note of a mortgage is the way that credit is created, right? It's based on that autograph. It's based on your consent first. You give a promise, then they create the credit because they don't have any money. So I went into my bank that had taken then the assets, right? And I drew up a little document on my own, just my language, God's law, that kind of language, right? And in it, I just mentioned the wet ink signed contract. And I phoned into the bank a couple of times and he said, yeah, come on in, we'll get you a copy. I said, no, I want the original, the wet ink signed. Oh yeah, we'll get you a copy of that. I said, you're not hearing me. He said, just come in. Well, we're good, Randall, and I said, okay, fine. So I go in, he autographs, I always use that language, right? The document. I said, so you can really get that for me? And he says, well, of course, I told you we can get you a copy. I said, look at what you just signed. He looks at it, he says, oh, well, we're going to have to get lawyer involved in this. I said, sure, phone her up. So he gets her on a conference call in the room and she starts in on the, copy thing again. I said, your buddy just signed this paper. And she says, can I talk to you? I forget his name. So she took him off the phone. He comes back in the room. He says, I'm going to have to escort you out of the bank. And I said, sure, whatever. I said, but I don't have any money to sue you, and I don't have any money to take this document that I've got in my hand with your wet ink signature on it and do anything with it. So you're safe. I said, it's all good, buddy. I said, I get it. And he didn't say another word, escorted me out of the farm credit office, and that was the last of it. But you see, those little things like that years ago, then I just kept recognizing the synchronicities when I'd meet another authentic human being and speak to them on this issue, right? From my partners to the man that I deal with directly to other bankers that I deal with. My banker, who's not in this tower, but 2 towers over, she understands my language, okay? God's law. She understands that language.
I have a question.
Sure.
So the 3 jurisdictions, legal, common law, God's law. How do you, is there something that you follow that it is God's law? Are you using commandments? What are you doing that you're saying and that that it's God's law? How do you know that?
Well, I love the story of Jesus Christ. And you and I have talked about this before. What would Jesus do, So Jesus was a master. And there's been many masters, and there were many masters before him. Hermes Trismegistus, that kind of language I use. But the language of Christ, or Jesus Christ, sorry, is Christ conscious language that is simple to my mind, right? So when you ask what God's law is, well, that's it. It's the language of Jesus that, it's polar language. Okay, number one, it isn't good and bad. And if there's some lack of good, then that can be forgiven or buried, one of the two, but don't drag it into the conversation, blame and criticism.
So are you saying it's unipolar, like there is no bipolar in God's language or law?
That's right.
So do you take the language of the Bible then? I'm trying to get concrete because you're going abstract, right? Because what stops you, what stops you from creating your own language and your own law and saying it's God's law? Because what you're saying is, there's no hardcore template or anything like that you get to decide as a sovereign person want a language, but you're labeling it as God's law. So you know what I'm saying? You're giving responsibility to this thing called God for what you're creating. So you must believe then, and this is so abstract and not clear to me. You must believe in that you are God then, because you are saying it's God's law. But if you're the creator of it as you go along, then you're saying you're God.
Well,
wait. What do you think of that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, because I referred to Jesus Christ already once, and the language of Jesus Christ does come from the Bible. So if you go back to that Bible, Jesus Christ said, "Ye are gods." Did he not?
I don't know. I haven't read it all. No, I haven't. I'm being honest. I don't know it like you know it.
No, I don't know it either. But I don't know it either, Ida. But
so
I know
where did you come up with this thing that he said, "Ye are gods"? If you haven't read it in his book, where did you find that out?
Well, we can find it in the book because it's in there. I've read it
Randy. You are such a creator. You just go about like yodi yodi yo. I think I'm going to call that AU and from the table, meaning authentic audience, and it's gold due to the element. And you just create it all. You need to have
That's right.
a backpack and a staff coming out of it.
Why not? And why not, Ida? Why not?
Well, no, it's true. Why not?
Yes.
That's a good question. But the thing that I'm confused about, because my mind probably wants something concrete to understand it, because it's so confusing. I don't know always what you mean, because you're creating your own meaning. The meaning to me may be different. So I don't even know if we're talking the same or we're referencing the same meaning, because I don't know what yours means, because you're creating it yourself.
Here, I'm going to create one for you, okay?
You love this. I know you love this.
I know.
I call this tender-hearted Randy versus mind-fuckery Randy.
Okay, here's tender-hearted Randy, okay? Here's as above, so below, that language. And then the language of Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
You know that language from church? Well, that one's kind of fucked up. It should be Father, Mother, Holy Spirit.
Yeah, so, I think that's neat. Yeah.
I think that needs to be
We left out the mother,
So we're going to recreate that one, okay? You and me together. Because then I won't be the only creator here, right?
We're co-creating,
co-creating. So what did they do? They used to go like this: Father, Son,
Holy,
yeah.
Holy Ghost. It was Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna do it this way instead: Father, Mother, Holy Ghost.
Oh, so you went solar plexus for mother.
Yeah. Mother. No, I went down to the womb for mother.
Okay.
But then we go to the womb man. Okay, womb.
I like that.
So then we turn it around and we say, okay, what's the oh shit! I just said the word a few minutes ago. Now I can't think of it.
Trismegistus?
The reflection. What's the mirror? Okay, then start at the bottom. Mother, Father, Holy Spirit. And still, again, it's all polar. We're not going into this world. We're just going up and down. And there's no bad, no good. It's just up and down, up and down. Father, Mother, Holy Spirit, Mother, Father, Holy Spirit. How do you like that? We start our own
That's pretty awesome. You created that. I didn't. I'm not your co-creator. You created that. Okay, so I have a question about this. You know
Okay.
how you said so above, so below?
Yeah.
Isn't that, now here we go again, isn't that a satanic principle of inversion? Come on. That's what I've heard that so often. The Satanists work with inversion. So it's so below, as above, so below, inversion.
Ah. Well, I don't know. I don't care what they do. I'll do what I want to do.
I know, you're creating again. Here we go. But this is where, Randy, this is
Yeah.
where the confusion of meaning lies. Because as you're creating, you are using things that mean other things. And so, how do people always know that they're on board with you or that you're on board with them? Because the meaning may get lost. Like you may
Well,
be
because
talking, yeah.
yeah, we're not on board in that realm. That's the great mystery. That's the spiritual realm, which is quite unique, for each of us. So that's why we have to have another jurisdiction, a man-made one, like the common law jurisdiction. Maybe we can find one even better than common law once we move out of that legal jurisdiction. If we need a third, let's go up somewhere between common law and God's law and create a new one. But
Wow.
but as far as agreement, that's due to our own individual, call it programming, whatever language you want to use. You
Yeah.
said that it's perception of words, right? So it's probably impossible for anyone to create, even though there's no original thought. I think that there is oneness in there, but it's not in the language so much as it's in the feeling, or the feeling before the thought, like you said a couple of times to me. It's
Yes.
yeah.
I noticed, I noticed a lot that your language doesn't necessarily include feeling. It's very interesting to me. It's up here, a lot of the language, but it's not always here. And so I think that that's been my observation. So why uh oh, I lost you.
Oh, it's okay. I just had a
Oh,
call coming in. I
okay.
deleted. Okay.
Why the interjection, why I make that interjection about feelings all the time. And that ladder or that polar thing, when you say thoughts create, I mean, feelings create thoughts, create behavior, it's
Yeah.
also reversed. Many people say it's the thought first, then the feeling, then the action. But you know what? For me, I do a lot of feeling work, right? On myself and with others. So feeling for me is first. I think it starts with sensations. If you think about how we're born, like the baby can't speak. The baby
Yeah.
may have thoughts, but I think it feels more. And from the feeling, it communicates it with whatever sound, right?
Yeah.
So it feels a discomfort maybe in its belly and it goes, ah, but
Yeah.
it's not thinking, oh my God, there's a discomfort in my belly. It doesn't have the thought. It's more like, I feel this sensation. Ah, what is it? Help me.
That's right.
So before language, which to me is an intellectual thought construct, there is feeling. Feeling to me seems much more primary than the language and the thoughts we create,
Yeah.
right? Going back
I
to
love that.
feeling.
I love that when you suggested that, because I heard years ago already a young man speaking at a conference. It was a cattle organization, and he used that phrase: thoughts become words, word become action, action become habit, habit becomes destiny,
Yes, you've
and
talked about,
destiny
yeah.
becomes character. So those five things, but the feeling ahead of time is so cool, because you know I like, all I wanted to say is thank you for that, because you added to that for me. Like, it
Yes,
was wonderful
yes,
when you said the feeling first. And the
yes.
feeling is generally love, okay? Because love is the addiction too. Like when we talk about it, it is the ultimate thing that we strive for on this planet. Our self-love, love for others, love coming into us. It's what we strive for, I believe. And you know, a lot of people say happiness and joy and things like that. Well, I think that's still love, you know, like there's really only one other person said to me, or one other man said to me one time, there's only love and fear. And that makes sense as well, you know, that we only have those two. Or there's only love and a lack of love in my polar world, you know, that I like to
Yeah.
stay function in, right?
So I love that that you brought in love, because that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was love.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the things I think about is not that love is an addiction necessarily, but I think people want an absence of pain and suffering. I think they don't want to feel pain and suffering. If
Yeah.
I think about our world, I see that we do everything to avoid the discomfort of pain. And I mean, we medicate people that are in pain.
Yeah.
And pain is a natural function of feeling, right?
Yeah.
Discomfort in a baby is pain. I don't want to feel this anymore. You know,
That's right.
so I don't necessarily think that people are looking or addicted to love. I think, if anything, there's an addiction of not feeling pain and discomfort and what's the word, suffering. Some of the ancient philosophies and belief systems also include the elimination of suffering as the goal. Dukkha.
Yes.
I forget if is that Buddhism or is that the elimination of suffering is the
I
goal.
think Dalai Lama talks about that, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
uses that language. So
So
yeah.
you see, some of them are not even talking about love as the goal. They're
Right.
talking about the elimination of that discomfort or suffering or the pain.
Yes.
So I think it might be more about that. And even as people, when we feel pain or discomfort, it's so powerful in our programming to jump out of that. Like, oh God, we are not supposed to feel pain or discomfort. I'm sorry, but living on this plane, this earthly existence, it is part of the journey. Pain
Yeah.
is here, suffering is here, right?
That's
And
right.
so to have the goal of wanting to jump out of it or be somewhere else prolongs the suffering.
Interesting.
You
And you know,
deny, distract, deflect, whatever, to get out of it because of the uncomfortability of it, right? But if you switch the perception and you look at it as a communication, this is a communication that something is amiss within
yeah.
me. It could be my body, something physiologically is amiss.
Yeah.
It could be oh man, I'm just thinking about so many things with this subject just because I talk to so many people that want to avoid this, right? Somewhere are in our programming, like we've been programmed not to be able to sit with it. And do you know how you build capacity in a person and self-trust is knowing that they can sit with that pain or discomfort and they will survive and be okay. They don't have to run away from it. They don't have to distract themselves. They don't have to deny it's there. They can actually sit and use, if you want to use the observer mind, you know, that you talk about,
Yeah.
like that detached, emotional detached observer, and sit with it. And do you know what happens? It relieves so much quicker
Yeah.
because you're not fighting or resisting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably the plumber, but my daughter's got it. Feed
Okay.
it. Okay, thanks.
Oh gosh.
So Randy, I just want to say that it's oh, I don't know about that love thing. I really struggle. I know what unconditional regard is
Mhm.
because I have it for my adult child, right? That
Okay.
to me has been the ultimate love of my life. I don't know about you, if the children thing has been the ultimate love, but man, woman love stuff, you know, I'm just going to
Okay.
say, oh, fuck, because
Okay.
I haven't figured that out. But you know what's so interesting? I work with couples,
Yeah.
right? In their relationships. And I can tell you, I remember one of my, I worked with a bunch of psychologists. I don't know if I told you that. I'm not a psychologist, right? I have
No.
my master's in social work. So there
Okay.
were eight of these psychologists who all had their doctorates. So they were all PhDs. And here I
Yeah.
am, master of social work, working with them. The only difference between what we did was that they got paid a shitload more than I did for the same work, right?
Probably less work than you because
And you
you're
know
such
what?
a
Some of them
passionate.
follow me on LinkedIn and Facebook and whatever. But let me just tell you, I'm telling lots of stories.
That's
The
good.
lead guy was a PhD in psychology, and so was his wife. So they were a husband and team that owned this center.
Hmm.
And he used to sit with me. I gave him such a hard time, first of all, because I don't like doctors.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just to give you a brief idea about that, I interviewed 6 doctors before I chose one to deliver my daughter.
Wow.
You know, this is almost 30 years ago. I interviewed them with questions and I chose a GP, not even a specialist. Anyway, so I'm really suspicious of doctors. So here he is, a doctor, and he said to me, Ida, we want you to do couples work. And I said, oh my God, I don't think I can, you know, because I don't know. And he said, well, don't you have a relationship with your daughter? And I said, yes. And he said, so what do you think is different between the dynamics of a parent child and in relationship? And I said, tons of shit. And he said, no, you don't know how many relationships are parent child.
Oh God.
Anyway, so there, sorry. So
That's okay.
I'm curious about, oh, sorry. The quote is 305. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Did you hear the quote?
No,
Did you see my beloved?
just a little tiny bit.
That's
I
my
could see her.
beloved.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. We were in bed together this morning because she came and visited me. Oh,
Aw.
they came and visited me. And I was like, and I was
Nice.
making all these noises.
like like Keisha.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's been trying to get a hold of me for an interview. Anyway, so
Oh, good.
Randy, what I want to know is, in terms of love, like, can you just speak to that about what your experience is about love and all the different kinds for you and how that works?
Oh my God.
I
Okay.
know.
First off, I think you hit a couple of words there. You talked about pain and then the word love, right? And then you were mentioning some other language, and it's all words, okay? So what we've done is we moved from that feeling through the thought to the words, right? So we
Yeah.
were all we're really talking about now is words. So think of like love is just a feeling, you know, just like pain is a feeling. If you want to go there, like, and then the complexities, oh my God, there's you know, there's so many different angles. Like you say, grabbing your child like that and giving her a hug and you know, that kind of love is so unique and special. Like the love I have for my daughter compared to my granddaughter, or you know, that I've had with women or whatever, or my mother or my father. Like everyone is unique, you know. It's
Yeah.
pretty well impossible to use that word without just calling it a feeling, you know.
Okay, so then let me ask you, can you distinguish the differences between the love of your child the love of your grandchild, and then the love in relationships. What do you notice? Like, what's the distinguishing characteristics?
Well, relationships, I gotta say, it's, it's that sexual aspect, that isn't there with, the love for my father, mother, or children or whatever. So that would probably be the only separation. So how do you distinguish that? I don't know. Like, it's just it's it's a feeling that, I'll get tingles in my spine from a song, like I'll get a euphoric, blissful feeling from just a song, and then and I think of that as love. But then if you ever get that from another human being, just in their presence without language or anything, I've had that a few times. So
Pretty
it's,
awesome.
but does it come and go? Yeah. Like, we're so unique as creatures that to hit that moment, let alone find a lifetime with somebody like that. Holy cow, that would be
I
amazing.
love that you said that. I love that you said that because it's true about moments, right? Now
Yeah,
moments, right? Now that moment that we just had passed, we're into
yeah,
another moment, right? So I love that you said that because I remember when I was in therapy many moons ago, I was talking about having moments that were absent of pain or
right.
struggle, like moments. And I remember sitting there crying, saying, when am I going to have a chunk of time, not just a moment? Not in pain, emotionally, psychologically, physically. Why is it only a moment? And then I remember the very wise therapist said to me, well, that's what life is. It's moments, and then you string them together. And the more moments that you have, the more it does become a chunk
Yeah,
because they all add up, right?
yeah,
So it was so weird because in my youth, in that session, I didn't know this about life, right? You know how we have those expectations when we're young
yeah.
about, oh, this is what love is going to feel like. This is what an absence of pain is going to feel like. And then you get there and it's like, fuck, is this really it? A moment? A fucking moment? That's it?
But the thing is, Ida, is that we live in such a vast reality of choice,
Yeah.
a vast universe of choice, that the biggest thing that we can learn in our lifetime is to learn how to focus. And focus is is a huge word, like, it's just amazing to me. And like, I've practiced meditation, and I've been really practicing for what, the last month and a half, and it's really helped me to just say, okay, Randall, you're going to sit down and meditate. And I needed to get, and I do, guided meditations. Andrea Grace leads these guided meditations, and I felt I'd done some of them in the past, but I never really caught on to it. But there's a trust that you get with an authentic human being, that you say, okay, now I'm going to do this because I trust it. Just like I've trusted many bankers and many people as far as my health and what I wanted to do, like, you know, getting rid of my cancer, was trusting in the language and the words of a therapist. Like, I couldn't have done that on my own. If he wouldn't have shared with me some of his language and some of his stuff, and we wouldn't have built that trust, I probably would have floundered. So, all I'm saying is that with Andrea, I just trusted that her as an authentic individual to lead this meditation. So I do that every day, and it's been great for me. And I'm, like I said, right now I'm in the third or second day, coming into the third day of a fast again, and I've done that for a year and a half after learning that from somebody and trusting them that it was a very good thing to do, and learning from another authentic person that doing it on your moon cycle, like, I've just added to my story as I went along. And it's that authenticity that and then focus, right? So
So does
whether
the
it's a
focus come
relationship,
first? Does the focus come first for you?
I don't think so. I think it's after. Like, I think it's the authentic trust first and then the focus, you know?
Yeah.
And,
For me,
and yeah,
trust is about, it's so funny because people turn that outward, right? It's
yeah,
about trusting that person. But you know, that's not for me what trust is. It's again, look, it's again turning. Do you know what it is? You've reached, or whoever is doing this has reached a place of trust within themselves that they will cope with no matter what happens to them, whether it's
yeah,
by that person, this person, that doesn't matter. It's that they have a fundamental inner knowing that they've accepted, that I can trust myself to cope with no matter what comes my way. So if I start to listen to that person's guided meditation
yeah,
and it doesn't work for me, then I don't trust that I'm going to cope with it not working for me, or that person who's giving it to me. Maybe there's something sinister. It's about you trusting that you'll cope no matter with what happens on your journey with anyone or anything. So that's to me what trust is. It's not about them. It's about you trusting
yes,
you.
yes.
That's the beauty of all of this. It's not about this. It's about this. It's about this. The
Hey,
temple.
Ida, can,
And you
can
said
we,
something else that triggered me.
but just hold
So,
up for
oh
one
yeah,
second. I want to ask you something. Can you move your computer screen like that a little bit or something?
this?
Yes,
What?
there. Because now I can see you. For some reason, in my phone, you're always hiding behind me and my picture, and I can't change that.
Maybe
But now I
that's
can see your
purposeful.
eyes.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
there.
on the phone. Okay, so
That's
you
it.
know
It's
the
on my
other
phone.
thing, the
Okay.
other thing that really resonated when you spoke, you said choice. You use choice and focus. You use those two things.
Yeah.
And you talked about the focus. With you, it sounds like the guided meditation is a focus thing. And also, fasting helps you to focus because
Yes.
you're doing whatever practice to clean yourself out so you can just,
Yes.
okay. So the other thing I think about love, a lot of people have expressed to me that they think it's a feeling, right? I
Yeah.
love, I love this person. And after many, many years of talking, I've come up with a different conclusion of what I feel love is. It's not necessarily a feeling, because you know what? You've made a commitment to love somebody, right? Let's say somebody's in your life. You're
Yes.
not always going to feel love for them. Come on, you're going to look at them some days and think, holy shit, what are
Yes.
they going on about? I don't like that part of them. You know, there's going to be days where you're just not feeling the love for them, right?
But that's where focus comes in.
Well, I want to say that's where choice comes in,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
because you choose to continue on with them based on whatever you felt about this
Yeah.
love thing and commitment thing. But you know what? You're choosing. You're choosing in the moments that you're not feeling it.
Yes.
So is love a feeling or is love a choice? Because
Oh, cool.
isn't that cool, Randy?
Yes, I like that. Okay, so that goes with a word that I came up with this morning, and I've it's part of the quantum language as well, or it might be just common law, but it's tryst, Tryst. Okay, and then I relate that to Trismegistus,
Yes,
which
yes.
I really adore that language of Hermes Trismegistus. But tryst, what is it? You know, is it try staying with something, like focusing, try staying with something? I don't know. Like, I was just playing around with that one and
Very
creating.
cool. I have to tell you something that I've learned. I think I sent you something about this. So there
Oh,
is,
wait. One more. try sticking with something.
There's a W.
TRY and then ST. I'm just adding on to the ST with staying or sticking. Okay, now go
Okay,
ahead.
cool. Okay, so there's a woman, Ashiana Dean, and I think I've sent you some of her work.
Yeah,
She's gone, and I know you don't believe in aliens and all this shit, but she's gone into how humanity was created and how it evolved in a
yeah.
galactic way. So
Mhm.
she includes other races, how we got the 12-strand DNA, all of that. I
Yeah.
have never heard anyone speak like her. I can't even understand her. And then she draws all these friggin' downloads of like these visuals that are so complex. I don't even know. Like she said, she sits with a pen and pencil and draws them and gives them to somebody and they put them on the computer. And it's like, holy shit, how can a mind come up with that? But she says she's being downloaded, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what she discovered? They call it Christ, not
Okay.
Christ.
Yeah.
They're beginning, and isn't it similar to Christ? Christ.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
spelt, I don't know if it's, yeah, I don't know if it's a K or a C, but it's spelt KYRST, like Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what she said, why it's spelt like that? This is going to blow your mind. Because it's the first audible syllables that man made.
Oh.
Ka, ra, ya, what are they? Ka, ra, ya, Christ, sa, ta.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
The first syllables.
I
And
love
that's
that.
how Christ evolved. And
Yeah.
she does these, she talk about guided meditations. This woman does them from someplace beyond. She's got this language, like this language. I don't know. Anyway, I
Is it
encourage you to look her up
it
because,
kind of reminds me a bit of our buddy Huna Flash.
he
And you know
did with
who
the kid thing.
yeah,
Ka,
he uses
ra,
yeah, see?
ya.
And you know what? Chris, when you say Christ, Kryst, one day we were chatting, him and I, and we were just having fun like this, just firing off creation back and forth at each other. And I said, Christ all, you know? So Kryst and then ALL. And then one day
Oh, wow,
my
that's
my
crystal. Yeah,
yeah, Crystal
yeah,
and Christ all, so
yeah,
Christ
yeah.
is in that. So it kind of goes back to what you're talking about. People aren't going to just be, their heads are going to be spinning by the time they get this far into our little talk today, but that's okay.
Do you
But
think so?
anyway,
I
what,
don't know why you think that.
well, because we've went like boom, boom, we've gone everywhere.
That's what I
But first,
do. I don't know.
I know, and it's fun.
It's
So
not focused.
Paul,
Maybe that's why it's not focused.
yeah. So Paul, the guy I was talking about earlier, he we talk in terms of three names even within the legal, common law, and spiritual realms, right? So he's given himself a spiritual name, like Huna Flash is a spiritual name.
Yeah.
So then I was toying with this one day, and I was reading the Kabbalion at that time, or listening to it. I cheat. I listened to the audio version, and I listened to it a number of times, and I will again. And I thought, okay, what's my spiritual name? So I've played with that Crystal or the Christall. So that's my first name, and my second name is Magistus. So it's Crystal instead Christall Magistus. I just said, hey, that's a good name. So that's my spiritual name from now on.
Wow, that's cool. You're not gonna, even to the bankers, you're gonna call yourself Christall Magistus.
I might, depending on the situation, if I have to go over their heads.
Just call me CM. CM. You know what?
Oh God!
You know
I
how
knew
in
this
the
was
olden
going to be
days they
fun,
had a
Ida.
crest that they stamped on stuff as the signature or the autograph?
Yeah.
You should get one made up with the C and the M.
My son is CK.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Calvin Klein.
That's right.
So one more question before we go.
Oh yes, because I'm
You
down to
talk about
10%.
you talk
My
about
phone's dying.
the Epsom salt thing. Do you
Oh
know what
shit.
I'm worried about? I went to look, and the Epsom salts that I see in the grocery store or the drugstore, they say non-food item, like that you can't ingest it. So
Yeah.
where are you, like what kind of Epsom salt are you getting for your fasting thing that you do?
I just boil it. I
What do
use
you
the
mean?
regular. I use the regular Epsom salts, but I boil it first before I put it in.
So you don't even look at the label to see whether it says food or no food or don't ingest. You just do it.
I just do it.
And you've been safe.
I'm fine. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
here.
cool. What?
I'm alive,
You're alive.
but I'm not
That's
evil.
all that matters in this moment, isn't it? That you're alive in this moment.
That's right. But you know what? My phone just clicked on 10%, and I
Yeah,
forgot my charger at
we
home.
gotta
So
go. We gotta go.
we gotta
Mio
go.
Mayo.
That's
So
right.
what a lovely chat.
Oh, I loved it.
We're never lost for words.
Never. We
I
could go
know. We
on for.
can go on the fly like there's no tomorrow.
It was a lot of fun, my dear.
Yeah.
I'm
Take
gonna
care
I'm
of
gonna do
yourself.
my with
Take care.
abundance, sovereignty, health, love, and euphoria.
Gloria.
Catch you later. I
Ciao for
love you.
now.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.